Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? All right, you guys, welcome to the She Builds Show. We have a guest from far across the world today. This is Sinead, and she is from Ireland. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so Sinead, can you tell the audience just a little bit about your company and what you do?
Okay, well, She Built It NI is at the minute a recruitment company. I myself am a woman on the tools and drive machines. I have been for over maybe 13, 14 years now. I lived in Australia for maybe just over a little over 10 years. And machine driving from females was quite popular over there. I came back to Northern Ireland here just before COVID. And when I was on the tools and driving machines on building sites here, it was people took like a second glance. Found it very strange to see a woman on the driving machine. So lo and behold, that's where She Built It came from. The light went on, and I was like, why is there more females here in Northern Ireland doing more hands-on jobs, or what would have been classified as a man's job? That's now out of the that's gone, but more a case of hands-on kind of work. So I put a couple of feelers out on the social media platforms and seeing why isn't it happening here in Northern Ireland, and how can we change that? With putting a few social media posts out, She Built It then just went off. I think what She Built It does here is a barrier. There was a missing link in Northern Ireland between the job opportunity and the female interest, and I have been able to create that interest and able to put companies with females that want to be more hands-on. On that note, we have now progressed and become, well, companies booming, and it's more of project managers. Any basically female that wants to get into construction in Northern Ireland is coming through She Built It.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
To say in the small terms, we are recruitment. We are a company for diversity within the construction industry in Northern Ireland.
Absolutely. So you basically help women in your area. They come to you because it's kind of like a safe place, and you have the connections to the various different employers that are looking for, people to fill. So you're kind of like a job interseer, or somebody that goes and helps people find jobs, but you're specific to the women in construction industry, and the name of your company is She Built It. What's the NI at the end of that? What does that mean?
So She Built It NI is Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Okay, I'm like, I know it has something to do with where she's at.
I suppose everybody asked where She Built It came from, and I should probably tell that story too. She Built It was years ago. My father is a builder, and when we used to drive down the roads in Northern Ireland, my father would say, I built that, and I built that, and and then as time went on, my brother became a builder too. So then if my mum was in the car or somebody, your daddy built that and your brother built that, and as time went on. And when I came back here with my brother and my father and myself, worked on the same job. And one time we drove down the road, and he just pointed and says, we built that. So hence where the name She Built It came from. So yeah, that's the name, obviously Northern Ireland. So yeah,
beautiful.
That's where She Built It.
I love that. Tell me your first job, because you were working heavy equipment, I'm guessing, in Australia, and tell me how you got into it.
Well, that's another funny story that you asked that. So when I was in Australia traveling, we had to get a second year visa, and we went to a place called Darwin, which is quite up north in Australia. At the time, social media wasn't as big as what it was, and obviously you're not connected with people around the world and stuff. We found these girls that were working on the road, and they were traffic controllers, like traffic management. And one time, that was part of the curriculum to get your second year visa. So we were stopped by a girl on the traffic, stop and slow, but it's what you call it, where there was roadworks going on the road. And I said, I'm going to ask this girl how to get into this. So as she stopped the car, I asked her to come round the side of the car. And lo and behold, it was a girl I went to school with,
oh, really?
15 years ago. She was like, Sinead, what are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing? So you called her Colleen. So I was saying, me and her, we hadn't seen each other in school, and it could have been maybe 13, 14 years back then. Yeah, and she was like, "Look, what are you doing?" I was like, "I was actually going to ask you, how are you getting into traffic management?" And she said to me, "Listen, just speak to my boss, and I'm sure he'll take you on, no problem." So she gave me her number for her boss that night. We met him the next day. And that afternoon, we were already got our working boots and our hard hat, and we started the following day.
Oh my gosh, so that's so cool.
I know, it's a good story. So that's how we get into sort of the start of the construction industry. It was more the case of being like health and safety, setting up sites for civils works and stuff on roads. And then from that, we went to work in the outback in Australia. And there was so many traffic management and not enough machine operators. And the foreperson on the job had said, "Listen, would you jump on a machine, go on the roller?" So I jumped on a roller, and then lo and behold, fell in love with jumping on machines, and it's free ever since.
That's awesome.
So, yes.
So then what brought you back to Northern Ireland after you were kind of, it sounds like you maybe worked your way up for quite a while.
Yeah, well, with every job that I kind of went on, I did progress, more machine learning, more different machines, and then become a supervisor and stuff. I think it was just the case of I've been out there 10 years and I wanted to come home and, give home a go. And I was going to see how it panned out over the year. And then, funny enough, well, COVID happened. So It was a case then I couldn't go anywhere at this stage. So then it just became home again.
That's great. So when you came home, how long has it been since you started She Built It? How long has it been?
She Built It is training about just over 2 years, fully training about 18 months. In that time, we've had a lot of recognition. We have won New Startup Business Northern Ireland. I've won Inspirational Woman of the Year in Construction. We have won Rising Star category in construction and engineering for women, and that was all around the UK. I have also been in the top 100 women in the UK as an influencer. I've been nominated again this year. God, what else have I won? There's one more award, but I can't remember what it is. I've won a Mighty Woman Award as well, a trailblazer for that. So in the space of 2 years, we have had massive, massive recognition, just not in UK and Northern Ireland, just to show, that there's so much support here. People see that it needs to happen, and, a lot of full backing, which is great to see,
That's beautiful. So tell me, give me an example of, a success story for a woman that's come to you and that you've placed.
Oh, I love that. I love that you asked that question. There was a girl called Sarah, and Sarah's father was, we call grounds worker here, a civil worker. Sarah wanted to get into engineering, a placement in engineering. She wanted to go through university and do her engineering degree and get a placement. Sarah tried for 1 year to get a placement and could not get a placement anywhere. That didn't defeat her. She went back then and got herself to become a labourer and was going to become a labourer for a year, hoping then maybe she'll get site experience. With her site experience, then could go on to do an engineering degree. She tried for 2 years and then was defeated and went for a job in a bank. The girl in the bank knew me, that the job she went for, and said, "Listen, you do have the job in the bank. The job's yours. But before I give you the job, will you go and speak to Sinead? And if Sinead can't help you, there's nobody that can help you. But I believe that Sinead will get you the job." Lo and behold, she came to speak to me. And I says, "Right, okay, I'm going to put you on site." So I put her out with my father and brother. And within lunchtime, father and brother, but the father rung me. He's like, "Sinead, she is you. Only you've got 10 years on her. She is an absolute keeper. Make sure she gets work." So put her out on another job for an old foreman of mine. He rang me, he says, "I'm going to have to cut this girl in half." He says, "I have the plumber fighting for her, and I have the joiner fighting for her." He says, and the two of them are going head to head who wants to take her on. So that was another good story. And then I says, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And she says, "Well," I says, "I would love you to do a trade, but it's completely up to you." We put her out in a couple of interviews. One of the interviews that she done for the railway. The 15 years that the same four have been on the panel for 15 years to do the interviews. So they hit her with a question. Now, I can't remember the question on the top of my head. She was able to flip the question on its back and do a 360. They were absolutely astonished with her answer. Loved it, says, "We've never had someone come on and give us an answer like that." So straight away then they said, "Look, we would love to take her on," just the way, she presented herself. Then I put her through for another interview, and it was for She's doing now at the minute plumbing trade. So she's 3 years to be a tradesperson. And then from there, she's going to become a gas engineer. So we're getting her to do a trade and also to do what she wants to do, which was engineer. So she's going to become a gas engineer.
That's
so
incredible.
that's one of, like, I could tell you 10 stories, but no, we don't have that much time. But that's just to show you the kind of stories we have, that the females coming through that we have helped. So when people say to me, "Oh, you've won all these awards," the awards are great. The awards are great, and it's great recognition. But see, when you know that you've helped someone who, that
had been defeated for so long.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit of like insight into what the experience would be for a woman coming to you. What services do you offer and how do you help them?
Okay. I suppose with the younger females coming through, maybe 16 to 24, we have organisations here. I personally am becoming a trainer myself on to train women in, say, on machines. At the minute with the business going, the recruitment took a full front seat, but that is something that's going to be coming on board. So with the 16 to 24-year-olds, we work with different training organisations to help them maybe get a trade or, drive machines, depending on what they want to do. And the minimum, like, is get them a CSR card. I try to not put them through a trade straight away. I try to get them in to do a bit of labouring, site experience first, so they get a good feel of what to do before they make a decision that they want to go and maybe do a trade or become an engineer. So there's a lot of mentoring. We put them on the site. We check up on them, make sure that everything's there before we even put them on site. I check a site. I make sure the welfare facilities are there, just making sure that everything's in place before we put a female out. So there's a lot of things like that behind the scenes that, people don't really realise that we do. And then mentoring, we try to help them upskill them, retain them for this the client that we work for. God, what else do we do? There's a lot that we do. With the older females who have already, kind of picked their career or would like to progress, we again help them find whatever training or, work with different companies and help them with EDI and stuff like that. And, make them have a discussion of how they can progress. I do this within my job role, what I would like to progress on. I don't know what channels to go down, what avenues are there, what options. So we would go and find whatever options and help them then progress or speak with their employer and say, right, okay, how can we make this career path work, for ourselves? And obviously a lot of things that are coming up now, there's a lot of, women getting pregnant and stuff, and things like that. You have to put into the timeline as well and say, at just a certain age. So yeah, I suppose that's things in the background that a lot of people probably wouldn't see, that we do before we'd even put anybody on the site, or with the client. We make sure that this is our company values. What's your company values? And let's make sure that these match.
Yeah, they align. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, from going to like running, you were running machines and out in the field to now running a business, what's been the hardest thing for you in that transition?
That's actually a really good question. I suppose what the transition with me at the minute is, it's my baby, and it's very hard, I suppose, to let, other people in and, and things like that. It's knowing when to turn off. When you're running your own business, it's not the 9 to 5 anymore. It goes, it doesn't switch off. Yeah. So I suppose to me, it's not knowing when to switch off, when to give yourself, okay, it's time to turn the computer off. It's 9 o'clock at night. You're going, I know, but I can send one more email. Like, but are you up at 5 o'clock tomorrow? It's knowing when to switch off has probably been the hardest. There's so much opportunities that came my way within She Built It. We've a lot of other things that are going to be coming up. So it's grabbing every opportunity and then knowing when to prioritize things too. I never want to say no to anything as well. I always want to put my hand to something. So, and it's also, I suppose, missing being on the machines at the minute. I'm not on site. And it's having the work boots, putting the work boots on, at 7 o'clock in the morning and going out to work. So yeah, and I'm working with my father and brother for the past near 3-4 years. So I don't see them as daily as what I used to, and just the same banter stuff. So I suppose that's kind of what I miss more than anything.
Absolutely. I think that, the first year or two of an entrepreneur, we just, hustle. And then I would encourage you to be firm with your boundaries now. rather than, because when hard things come and when it gets tough, if you don't have like the life energy to deal with it because you've depleted yourself to nothing, it's hard to continue on. So maybe work it in like once a month where you go and you work with your dad and your brother, or like, you know, where you can spend that time, because we need to be re-energized, and we think that the work is energizing, but really like over long haul, it can be draining. So be careful.
Yeah, I completely agree. We do have a project coming up and I'm so excited. We have a family home that has been laying derelict for 30 odd years, and my dad decided to give me the keys and say, listen, I'm going to let you do this. So there's something that's coming up that the three of us are going to be working on together. Now, lo and behold, I'd say it's not going to be plain smoothing. Like, you know,
I was going to say, it's probably going to be harder than you think,
but I completely agree on what you're saying. Yeah, I do miss that too. So thank you for that advice.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, I think what you've done is incredible. And, you know, just that you're reaching other parts of the world, and how cool that we can find each other and connect and encourage each other. And I've actually been to Ireland. I went to like the Guinness factory. I flew to Africa, and then on our way back, we stopped in Ireland and Dublin. I don't know where you are from there, but it was just the most beautiful country and the kindest people. And I was just like, oh, I have to, you know, I was pretty young, but I was like, when I have kids someday, I want to bring them back here.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, do you have any other advice or just words of wisdom or anything else you want to say to the audience?
Yeah, just go for it. Go for it. Everybody makes mistakes, you know. It's better to, you know, you live and learn, you know, on that way, you know, just, and any opportunity is there. Don't hold back. Don't hold back, you know. Come out of your comfort zone. Come out of your comfort zone, you know, and just go for it is all I can say. And be real. Just be real. People see, you know, see the realness. And for me is to see the passion that, you know, that I love construction, and construction's been good to me. So on that note, just, you know, I suppose be real and authentic.
Yeah, and go for it. I love it. Okay, where can, if, you know, there's other people that want to, you know, maybe model what you have going on in another place, or just contact you because they are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know she existed and I want to be in construction and I live in Northern Ireland. Where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, She Built It NI. Yeah, She Built It NI on all social medias. My number is on my website, She Built It NI again. Anything, reach out to me. And I love networking with people. I love helping people. I love hearing people's stories. So if there's any way that I can help, even if it's just for advice and a bit of mentoring, please get in contact.
Oh, I love that. I have the same attitude. I just like, if you need a word of encouragement. It's so funny. I had a girl call me, I don't know, a month or two ago, and she was like, I want to come work for you, and I'm going to move across the country and do all of that. And I was like, hold tight. Like, is that really what you want to do? You know? And I just kind of poured into her a little bit. And I was like, you have an opportunity to just decide what it is you want to do. And she messaged me like a week ago or something. She's like, I just want to let you know I'm moving somewhere across the country. She's like, I sold everything. I'm moving across the country and I'm going to go help build something in that area. And she's like, and that's what I want to do. I just want to help people in this way. And I'm like, yes, like you figured it out, you know? So I think just even being like having women like you that are willing to just talk to women for free and encourage them, like that conversation didn't cost me anything, but it changed her life in a dramatic way. And I think that that's what you're doing with all the women that you encounter. And you're affecting people one by one. And that's the good that we need to put out into the world. So thank you.
I completely agree.
I love it.
I love it too.
Well, thank you so much. It was so great to meet you, and have an incredible day, and enjoy.
You too.
Enjoy your beautiful business.
You too. And stay in touch.
Okay, I will. Have a great one.
See you again. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Builds swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.